What's going on, y'all? Let's check out this video from More Pegasus channel, right, where he's going to be speaking on Hasan and his nasty debate that he had at Yale. See, Hasan Piker is a grifter, and he says a lot of foul things, but now that he's trying to influence the youth with his foul logic, it's going to be bad. Let's take a look, see what's happening in these streets. Don't forget to hit that hype button or that like button.
Welcome back to a series so traitorous. Even shoulder pad Piker subscribed. In today's video, Hasan continues his campaign to
Shoulder pad Piker is crazy. That's a wild name. It ain't wilder than Diddy Piker, but still wild.
reach the kids with his politics. This time he's gone to Yale University and is talking about the end of the American empire. The Yale audience is a mixed bag of Hasan glazers and Hasan haters who constantly hiss at him like he's a snake. He starts off his speech making a joke about threatening to murder a US senator. Very classy. He then talks about how evil America is and how defeating the Nazis was actually a bad thing. Bruh. He's now doubling down on his statement supporting the USSR and Joseph Stalin. 20 million people killed, by the way. Absolutely insane. He admits they were a ruthless authoritarian dictatorship, but somehow justifies it, saying that it's better than American outcomes. He then quotes another one of his favorite people, Chairman Mao. A student absolutely destroys Hasan. Mr. Beast is being called out by streamers Jinxie and XQC for his previous awkward Team Water stream.
Nasty work for sure. We're going to check that out in a different video, though. Different segment. We're going to focus on the Mr. Beast stuff, which I've looked into, and it's pretty nasty.
Let's up those numbers!
Now let's begin. Right, so Hasan is continuing his campaign to appeal to the youth, going to colleges to give his classic Diddy Piker speeches. So in case you missed last time, he basically went to Stanford University and he was crying because they reduced his venue size.
This literally was a 1,000 person venue that was fucking sold out. They swapped it to a 350 person venue instead.
He was also introduced by a guy with criminal charges, and he was a big fan of Hasan, of course.
I myself am one of 11 students and alumni of Stanford University who are currently facing 3 years in prison on 2 felony counts for sitting at the university president's office and
Why the hell are you speaking? Why are you there? The hell? You ain't Nelson Mandela. Get your ass off stage, bro. Yo, let me have work there. I'd be like, excuse me. Oh, sir, come down real quick. Yeah, let's not even embarrass yourself any further.
2024.
Well, that brings us to today. He's now at Yale University, another Ivy League school, and he's debating the end of the American empire. Interesting. So Hasan is obviously on the anti-America side, the pro-terrorist side, the pro-communism side, and he's glazing a bunch of dictators here.
Currently on our way to Yale Union, where we are going to be participating in a debate. The debate is about ending the American empire. It's a resolution.
Quite contentious, it seems, that there were a lot of people that didn't want me to come here today and speak to all of you. That's right.
Yo, they hissing like he part of Slytherin from Harry Potter.
I know what that means now.
Right, so basically they are hissing, which is kind of like booing the guy on stage. In SpongeBob terms, this would be like throwing Rotten Tomatoes at them, right? And I mean, it totally fits because Hasan is a snake. Even XQC's chat calls him Hasan. So yeah, you know, shout out to the few people with common sense there. Although a lot of them are surrounded by idiots, unfortunately. So anyways, he decides to start his speech, instantly making a joke about Rick Scott, a senator and political opponent of his that you might remember.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. I'm especially sad that Senator Rick Scott couldn't make it.
Yeah, you get it, guys,
Wow.
because Hasan threatened to murder him.
That's disgusting. What type of time is he on, bro? Like, what? This dude is crazy. And to be sitting there just, yeah, inside, he could be, yo, fam. Oh, man, yeah, that's nasty song worthy. You nasty as ever, bro. We might have to double tap messing with Hasan. This might not be the last time you hit.
Yeah.
You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, yeah. You know your name. You
Nasty work. Just going out his way to be nasty.
That's the joke. That's the funny, that Hasan issues death threats regularly. That's the funny part. Isn't that peak comedy, guys? So again, let's just reiterate, right? Hasan has the audacity to call half of America terrorists, as he was doing last video, when he's out here issuing death threats and just laughing about the situation here without an apology at all. And obviously, Hasan never does anything himself, right? Some insane person in his audience actually takes action on behalf of him, and then Hasan just walks free. Of course, in a previous video, we also unearthed that he actually threatened Charlie Kirk's life as well, and then a couple years later, he happened to get assassinated. No connection there, just saying that, hey, Hasan threatens to murder someone, and then that person ends up dying. And obviously,
Yeah. Not saying it's a blatant connection, but if we found out that there was, I wouldn't be surprised. Dealing with Hasan Piker, yeah, you definitely couldn't be surprised with that.
there's no one-to-one connection. There probably never will be, because this is how Hasan slides by with his dangerous rhetoric, right? He just says this violent, unhinged shit. He keeps escalating, and then he just jokes about it. And I find it interesting that he's having a debate here at Yale, because when he loses a debate, he literally threatens to murder the other person. So I wonder what he's going to say to these students here. So then, like a classic comedian, recycling his jokes, Hasan here does his classic spiel, talks about how shit America is and gets some claps.
I'm sure you had many opinions on whether or not we should end the U.S. empire and the global capitalist system, which is what I will be talking about today. And then your grandparents are probably going to hear about it on Fox News tomorrow. But it's an interesting resolution. End the U.S. empire. It's interesting because how do you end something that's already in the process of dying? Because that's the situation with the American empire as it stands today. But the United States, fueled by anti-communist fervor, turned against its former ally, the Soviet Union. This next phase of the American empire was structured as a world competition between Washington and Moscow. Everywhere the United States looked, it found communists under the floorboards, under the beds, both real and imagined. And naturally, this anti-communist struggle went hand in hand with American imperial interest.
Yeah, I mean, hilarious. So Hasan talks about hallucinating communism when these regimes were obviously communist, openly communist. And I find it interesting he's talking about hallucination when this guy sees Israel in his cereal and in his walls. Brother, you blamed shocking your dog on Israel. You blame random peanut VTubers making fun of you, saying they're made in an Israeli lab.
Bro, nah, that's facts, bro. This dude Hasan, if you sneeze in his direction, he's gonna be like, you work for Israel, don't you? Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. You was an Israel spy. You've been trying to set me up this whole time. You're an Israel spy. You've been watching me. I seen you on Al for a while. I was in the supermarket. Why'd you sneeze? Israel. That's what he'll do. Like, it's nasty work for sure. What you said about the peanut?
Oh, this is the number one streamer of Israel. Israel's finest.
You're an absolute fucking clown who is always projecting. Every single word out of his mouth is insane projection. And I'm at least glad that unlike some of the other universities, at least there's a mix of hisses and claps here. I mean, this is a debate, so I understand that there's people that will be disagreeing with him. That's at least a good start. Except we know that Hasan is not going to be listening to them at all, right? Goes in one ear and out the other. He's basically only there to recruit more people to his cult. And you guys actually let me know that these other universities also have a bunch of people that don't like him. They just don't show up to the speech, right? Which is understandable. Like, I probably wouldn't show up to a Hasan Piker speech, all right? You probably have better things to do. I'd probably look it up for content.
Facts. I would rather watch paint dry. Literally. What? Yeah, that's the last thing I would ever want to do, unless I'm gonna be, I guess, debating him myself, right? Or be somebody that's calling him out. I still probably wouldn't want to go, if I'm just being honest. Ain't like he gonna change anything. He is a pure grifter. Debating Hasan is like going to go debate Dr. Umar. You ain't proving nothing. These guys, in one ear, out the other, we need more money. I'm going to be a capitalist, but pretend to be a socialist. That's what Hasan does.
From my YouTube channel, but that's about it. So then he talks about the many evils of America and then proceeds to glaze a bunch of like communist dictatorships.
From Europe to East Asia, the interests of our investors and our corporations were protected, and protected unconditionally, mind you. And rather than start converting our swords into plowshares, at the end of World War II, we dropped atom bombs, 2 of them to be exact, to show the rest of the world that we had that capacity to change the tides of history in an irreparable manner. We helped out Nazi and Japanese war criminals. We became the monsters that we had supposedly vanquished. What Americans call the Cold War, was, to most of the people on the planet, an endless series of butcheries, each more perverse and more tragic than the last.
Yeah, you know, Hasan, you would actually have a point if you were remotely consistent at all, right? You can criticize like the intervention America does. You can talk about the evils and dropping bombs and how bad war is and everything. The only thing is, it only makes sense if you denounce evils in other places too. But when it comes to all these communist dictatorships, Hasan basically just hand waves them, right?
Yeah, he really went to his stylist and they was like, what you thinking? What you got in your mind for this award ceremony? He's like, dictator. They was like, no, for real, man. What you really got on your mind? What you thinking, man? You want to do like a nice little suit? He was like, no, dictator. They was like, all right, here you go. There you go. This is nasty work. Yikes.
He goes, well, actually, they're doing a great job, which is why I'm going on a humanitarian mission here, obviously. The thing is, if Hasan actually cared about civilians dying, he would first and foremost, before anything, condemn the terrorist groups that he loves so much. So when I hear all this talk by Hasan going, oh yeah, America is so bad, or they're so evil, they're the most evil regime apparently, they're a terrorist organization, I'm really just waiting for him to be consistent, right? To show that he actually does care about oppression, because you can criticize a bunch of things, but it's a complete scapegoat for Hasan. It's a complete lie. It's basically a means of deflection, right? And the one thing you'll never do is honest comparisons, right? This is the guy who tries to say that North Korea is not a dictatorship. The guy who glazes the USSR, as we'll get to in a second as well. You know, 10 to 20 million people dying, completely hand waved. And I find it interesting. You see a guy who makes a tweet and immediately say, this person Hitler. But then when there are these dictators legitimately who have already killed, this isn't a tweet or anything, they've already killed tens of millions of people. Those are hand waved. I just don't understand. Like, you have to be consistent there. You know, the more I see Hasan in these sort of settings, I have a feeling that he might actually try to run for office later in his life, like actually try to become a politician, potentially America's next dictator, like straight up. Now, he always says that he has no political aspirations, right? For now. But I think it's a bait and switch, right? Trying to get people to leave him alone while he quietly builds up this cultish army and tries to basically destroy the entire world.
I do not disagree with that. Yeah, he's plotting, especially if it like aligns with him lining his pockets up, right? He over there making money. He could like just fill up his pockets with as much dough as yeah. 100%. I do think that's what type of time he's on.
Unironically, Hasan the cartoon villain's plan, which will never come to fruition, obviously, but like, he's comically evil. So then Hasan implies that defeating the Nazis was a bad thing, right? Because America bad, I guess. So the guy calling everybody Nazis is an insult, right? Zionist Nazis, actually, right? He is now playing defense for Nazis. I mean, we shouldn't really be surprised. We all know what he thinks about Jewish people.
Packed to the fucking gills with the most inbred, uneducated, ultra-nationalist, rabid, Haredi population.
What was the point of defeating the Nazis if we went on to dominate so much of the globe as violently as we have? Was the point of all of it so that we could have the rest of the world to ourselves? The war that began in 1939 ended. But in the ideological dialogue between the two worlds and two leaders, Roosevelt lost the war. The real victor was Adolf Hitler. It is my personal opinion that the contemporary world is moved by the ideas that served as the foundation on which Hitler rose to power. 70 years later, I think history has proven Arevalo right. In place after place, time after time, the United States can never settle down its imperial bloodlust, this forever hunt for manifest destiny.
Oh, that's crazy.
We can draw a straight line from indigenous massacres of the early United States to the 20th century, killing fields that we have created in the third world.
Of course, you know, I guess America shouldn't have defeated the Nazis. They should have.
Wow. See, now, I told y'all we was going to end up doing a double tap, right?
Yeah. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, yeah. You know your name.
Yikes. Yo, defending Mustache Man is a whole nother level of nasty. That's nasty to the core. Like, I don't understand why he would say that. Oh, because it's Hasan. Yeah, never mind. Because he's definitely has no morals. He's corrupt. This dude will say whatever extreme could get him attention, money, all of it. My bad. I forgot who he was dealing with for a second. Defending Mustache Man. That is nuts.
Should have let them win, actually. I mean, they do share an ideology with Hasan and his terrorist buddies, right? Both extremely anti-Semitic, right? I mean, I imagine in the multiverse, in an alternate timeline, Hasan is like this president, right? Evil dictator or whatever. Sneeko is his right-hand man. Truly the darkest timeline ever. We gotta make sure that doesn't happen in our reality by spreading the message that Hasan is a colossal regard. Also, just a side note, but the hissing crowd is really dedicated. Like, they did it the entire speech. They didn't even stop at all. And I will say it is annoying as hell, but to be honest, so are the flippin' clappers who glaze them after every 5 words. So I guess in that sense, it's warranted. By the way, who decided this stupid ass like debate culture where you clap after every line or something? Like, just wait till the end of the speech or something. It's so annoying. Like, I never get it. Anyways, moving on to the main part here where Hasan talks about the USSR. And this is the part that's going viral on Twitter. So remember a while back, Hasan said that it's unfortunate that America defeated the USSR. Obviously, because he's pro-communism, he's pro-dictators, pro-Stalin, of course.
We are in the heart of the imperial core. This is the country that defeated the USSR, unfortunately.
Well, so now he addresses that clip, and in classic Diddy Piker fashion, he doubles down, right? So he could have said, it was in the heat of the moment, it was a mistake, I didn't mean it, right? But this guy's so unhinged. Bro's like, Hitler bad, but Stalin though, big fan actually. Hasan explains why the fall of the USSR was one of the greatest catastrophes of the 20th century at his Yale speech.
At Zoran Mamdani's election victory night party, I was interviewed. I was interviewed by a media outlet where I said, we defeated the USSR and the USSR dissolved, unfortunately. This was quite the controversial statement at the time. Fox News still loves repeating this soundbite. And some Democrats also channel that frustration as well. They say, how dare you, Hasan? The USSR was our enemy. They were ruthless, authoritarian. The fall of the USSR was one of the greatest catastrophes of the 20th century. Just wait, listen, maybe you'll agree.
Okay, hold up. So before we hear the reasoning here, right? Let me just make it clear. Hasan is doubling down here, despite admitting and acknowledging that they were a ruthless authoritarian dictatorship. He isn't even denying that they were bad, right? You know, when he was talking about North Korea in the past, he would say that, no, Western leaders are infinitely worse, right? He would try to say that, no, North Korea isn't actually that bad. Here he's going, oh no, they actually were bad, guys. This is basically the logic of Hitler is bad, guys, but...
Nah, that's blatantly what he's doing. That's nasty work. Like, whoa, what type of time is Hasan on, bro? I'm telling you, that's why you gotta treat him like a clown from my personal experience. Like, don't take him serious at all. That's what I do to anyone who acts like Hasan in life. Do not take him serious. Treat him like a clown. Wave him off like a fart. Seriously, and call him out. Because for some reason, they are the greatest locals ever. Hasan is a piece of crap. But that's my personal opinion. Let me know what yours is in the comment section. I'll be reading the comments. I'll be reading it, guys.
What? Stalin was bad, guys. What? Yeah, so just in case you guys didn't know, around 10 to 20 million people were killed by the Soviet regime. You know, there was the Gulag, obviously, very famous. The famines, it was the Great Purge. So here we have Hasan, literally, unironically, supporting mass murder, right? Hand-waving all of this. Meanwhile, he also simultaneously goes, genocide bad, right? This is why nobody believes you, Hasan. You're a massive fucking hypocrite. You hand-wave murder because it's done by communists, apparently. But then you have the audacity to talk about Israel-Palestine as if you actually care at all about civilians. Now, I haven't watched this next part. Let me guess his reasoning, okay? Stalin bad. Because America, right? But America, though. But America worse, right? Let's see.
Maybe you'll agree. Not only was there incalculable harm done to every single country under its banner, child prostitution, skyrocketing suicide rates, life expectancy plummeting, but America was no longer contested around the globe.
Okay, I'm gonna give myself like a 7 out of 10 for that one. You know, close enough. So the reason it's bad is because America is a superpower now and apparently uncontested, right? And apparently that is the worst case scenario for Hasan. He can't imagine.
Hasan's hate for America is insane, bro. That's part of the grift too as well. Yeah, you're going to be here and benefit off of America, but America's the most evil thing in the world. Then why are you here? Live somewhere else. You got the money, thanks to America's resources. Go somewhere else, bro, if you're not happy. This guy's crazy.
Anything worse than America having power, right? So the implication is it would still be better if the USSR was in power, the communist regime was in power, the dictators were actually ruling the world. So unironically, according to Hasan, his ideal world would be a communist paradise ruled by dictators. I assume Hasan would be leader. He would shock all dogs, right? No dog would be free. Every dog would be captured and shocked. Shock collar installed because he's an animal abuser. He would shut off all social media because it's out of context, obviously. And he would forcefully marry Asmongold, the Diddy Piker paradise, of course. At this point, I don't even know how Hasan Glazers defend him, right? Because they really claim to be anti-oppression, anti-authoritarian, right? One of the slogans that was going around was "No kings allowed." We're not, no dictators allowed. And then they watched this man justify the USSR. Brother, what the fuck is their chain of logic? Somebody explain to me. How are they?
It's insane, bro. It's like some Animal Farm-ish. That's one of my favorite books. Me and my mama was watching the movie. We got to finish it too, because we was watching a cartoon movie and then ended up finding the live action, started watching that. My mom was like, I'd rather watch this version. I'm like, me too. We thought the cartoon one was the only one that was available. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of like Animal Farm, right? You're going to say that you're against dictators, and then the nasty person here will try to benefit and become a dictator and preach in the dictator's name. It's pretty crazy.
Pro-LGBT and pro-Hezbollah. Like, how does any of this make sense? You really have to uninstall your brain, man. Scientists are legitimately going to be studying the brain of a Hasan Piker fan for centuries. That shit has got some terminal virus from alien space or something. Pure responded, I toned down my terror-supporting extremist propaganda so I can trick more people into being brainwashed by my pseudo-intellectual bullshit. Oh yeah, these communist regimes founded on mass starvation, dictators, and other atrocities are just swell, guys. Aren't we just so sad the West won? Give me a break. Hasan would support aliens annihilating the Earth's population as long as America was first. Yep, I mean, he would 100% get behind that. In a utilitarian perspective, of course. You see, America is just doing so much bad into the world and the universe. Surely being eliminated by aliens would be great. Bro skipped history class for sure if he thinks the USSR was a good thing to anyone, but to rich a-holes like him. No, quite the opposite. He probably took several history classes, considering this is probably what they're teaching nowadays. What the frick is this guy talking about? The fall of the USSR is inevitable and a net positive of humanity. Whatever this guy cope on needs to be studied. As always, Mr. Eric, first in line, sitting in that cuck chair. Great point here from Hasan. America treating the world like its playground. Post-Soviet Union has really led us to the problems we see today. Average American doesn't care what their military does around the globe. They say not our problem, you destroy any oil-producing country. And what would the USSR actually be doing? I'm sure they'd just be leaving everybody in peace and quiet, doing nothing. Anyways, Hasan is going viral for this clip on Twitter a bunch of times. I would like to express my devastation that Hasan didn't have a chance to defect to the Soviet Union. Talking like this within the United States should result in an automatic denaturalization and deportation at best. Oh no, you guys got your beautiful free speech, of course. The free speech that allows him to threaten to murder a bunch of people, apparently. Hasan gonna respond to this, be like, you're being authoritarian. What do you mean? Am I not allowed to speak here? No, Hasan, keep yapping. Yap all you want, honestly. It's gonna land you in prison one day. And I swear to God, we will be gloating. Like, I just saw Johnny Somali finally get put in prison, all right? Hasan next. Hasan next. Put him in there. There's something...
Even though he didn't get that much time, I was upset about that, yeah. Yeah, I know, it sounds crazy, right? But I did not like that. I definitely was not a fan of Johnny Somali getting the minimum. This dude got only 6 months. That's crazy. I was thinking 6 years. But whatever. Check out my previous video on it.
Deeply off about American society when we validate historically illiterate and morally bankrupt figures like Hasan. It's laughable how Ezra Klein claims this man is not the enemy, given inane statements like this. Yale inviting him to speak says everything about how the overturned window has shifted. Anyways, if it couldn't get worse, it can always get worse. Hasan then quotes his idol, his third favorite man in the world after Hitler and Stalin, apparently. Apparently the cosplay he did earlier really hit, you know?
The U.S. has produced disaster after disaster after disaster. I am reminded, however, of some famous words spoken by a guy by the name of Mao Zedong. Speaking with an American journalist in 1946, Mao Zedong said these words: "All reactionaries are paper tigers. In appearance, the reactionaries are terrifying. But in reality, they are not so powerful." Speaking of U.S. imperialism, people seem to feel that it is terrifically strong. But it will be proved that the US reactionaries, like all reactionaries in history, do not have much strength. In the United States, there are others who are really strong. The American people. Perhaps Mao was right about this. But maybe he was a little too early. After all, being a leftist is about being right, but too early.
Wow, Hasan. Wow, great speech. You know, we radical lefties like Hasan, we are really smart.
Sarcasm.
We just justified several dictators and the atrocities they committed while simultaneously pretending to hate oppression. They really hate oppression, guys. No kings. It seems like they only hate it because they aren't the ones oppressing people. That's legitimately it. Also, I love the term reactionaries, right? So he's trying to use a Mao quote and apply it to modern day context. Oh, these reactionaries, you know, the people who react to me shocking my dog? Asmongold, the biggest reactionary there is. Honestly surprised he didn't mention it. Maybe he does later. There's like a whole Q&A section that we're not going to look at this video because it's like 1.5 hours long. Maybe next time. But yeah, I find it interesting that every day he gets more and more mask off. Like, he isn't even pretending anymore. This is the stuff that I was saying before, that he definitely does support these dictators and these evil regimes. And then Hasan Piker fans would hide behind it like, no, he never said that, though. Here he is fucking saying that, though. So then a student responds and gives him his own Mao quote.
And Mr. Piker, because you like Mao so much, I'll end with a quote of his that I think you would do well to study, which is 枪杆子里面出政权. Did you get that? Did you get that? It's political power grows out the barrel of a gun. We do not want a violent world due to a power struggle when American empire falls. America has blood on its hands, but it's better for power to be in American hands than any other.
What?
Even Hasan had to smile at that one. Bro got China mogged. Unlucky, Hasan.
funny.
Maybe next time. That guy even got your chat glazing him. Right, here we have Hasan's comment section, and they are very mad that Hasan was
Hasan gets smoked by everybody. Everybody could dog walk Hasan in a debate. I'm positive. My moms would destroy him. Especially if they start getting into the religious bag.
getting booed. All this hissing at one of our most elite universities is really making hard to discredit the idea that we're ruled over by lizard people. So now they're mad. Now they're mad, okay? All this other time, all these other universities is all fine. But when they boo Hasan, now they're mad. Never been more affirmed of my opinion that American Ivy Leagues are weird and pretentious. Are you kidding me? You people always do this appeal to authority, this appeal to degrees, this appeal to, oh my God, oh, these Ivy League students are so much smarter than you. Oh my God, they're so much more educated. Hasan has his lovely degree from 13 years ago. He's so smart. He's actually well-read on these topics. And now because they're against you, it's like, oh, they're weird and pretentious. Which they are. They absolutely are. But we've at least been consistent on this. Brother, hissing at literally plainly stated facts is so silly, of course.
Facts are still facts.
What facts? I made it up. The Ivy League class is so freaking cringe. Holy shit, I've never felt so lucky to not go to an Ivy League.
Hasan is cringe. Hasan is the cringe king.
That crowd was so freaking annoying. Man, Burgoy's universities are strange, silly places. No wonder the economic and political elite end up being such weirdos. You mean Hasan? Hasan is the economical elite here, bro. Multi-millionaire. How did he survive the cringe? He was born in it. He was forged in it. This is somehow worse than terminally online people. You're a Hasan viewer. There is nobody more terminally online than you. Okay, hold up. 60 comments! 60 comments on the Hasan Piker channel. And I'm sure 500 on his stream. I'm not gonna lie, the stomping feet and hissing was annoying as frick. Wait, the stomping? I thought that was clapping. I thought that was like banging your table and clapping. Was that also a diss? I don't actually know. Somebody needs to tell me. Yeah, watching the speeches of students was particularly painful as you hear a few Nazis hissing at the...
I remember when I used to skateboard, and I know that was supposed to be a good thing. Right, if people started banging their skateboards on the floors of the rails, that meant that they was giving you like the big ups. Like, use the man out here in these streets.
Most moderate things in existence. Most moderate things as Hasan literally glazes the USSR and justifies like Stalin atrocities. This is the most moderate things, guys. And of course, they're the Nazis. This is giving Slytherin house vibes. Welcome to the Hisanabi podcast. Right, so people are
No lie, I said that. They sound like they from Slytherin.
calling out Hasan on Twitter. Watch Yale students orgasmically welcome Hasan Piker, man who said America deserved 9/11 and calls to murder a sitting U.S. senator. Yale is poison. Yeah, were these the same people who were hissing, or was that some different people? I'm confused. Hasan responds, "Did you bust?" What a comedian, guys. Hilarious. First reply,
Pause. Why does Hasan always gotta take it there? Why he always gotta be Mr. Freak Nasty? At all times, him and iDubbbz.
estimates on the number of deaths attributable to Joseph Stalin's regime, varying from 6 to 20 million. Hasan supports mass murders. Hasan supports mass murders. I mean, classic. He's a man of the people, guys.
Yikes.
It was hot as freak. You did so good, Pookie. I'm proud of you. My little knight got his first sword. What the fuck is wrong with you? Guy's born in New Jersey and is literally a terrorist right here in America. I mean, listen, before I used to defend Hasan against these allegations, I try to be really fair. But now he's out there calling everybody terrorists. So, of course, people are going to call him back. I'd still defend him against an allegation unless he goes and blows up someplace or whatever. But yeah, he sure does seem to love him. I bust when I see Hasan. No shame in it. You should have some serious fucking shame in that. Did you bust when this happened? It's some shockings, dog.
What the hell is going? This is crazy. Yo, the type of conversations happening now is insane.
Oh my god, what is this? Hasan claims he got his infamous Cartier glasses from a vintage thrift store. Of course, guys. I don't spend any money. Everything was already gifted to me. I just happen to have all these designer clothes, all these perfect glasses, maybe in my power, perfect size clothes, of course.
Hey, shout out to that.
Yeah.
What's on the eyes today?
Oh, this is just some vintage. I don't know. I got it at
Okay, can I see your wrists and fingers?
Or it's a thrift store, guys. A thrift store. You see, this is all covered by
Cat. He lying. That's a lie.
his dad's loan. You know, he gave him a small loan of $1 million. Granddad with his 30 houses. Wow, where does he get these fines? A $20,000 dog from a shelter? Now this is why people don't like Hasan. Not because he wears what he does, because he's a freaking liar. The thrift store in question. Like everyone says, Hasan's a fake champagne socialist. Me, if I were regarded in lying. I really like the life-size depiction here of his head. They say he picked him up from the thrift store on his way back from getting a designer dog from Craigslist. Willing to bet Hasan's never stepped foot in a thrift store in his life. Now, he probably has, to make fun of the poor people. We all know he loves doing that, you know, went to Cuba to do that. Not a single truth leaves Hasan's mouth where Pegasus was right. I always am when it comes to Hasan. Oh, this 4,600 bracelet. I got that dumpster diving, dude. Moving on to Mr.
That's
Beast
insane.
getting caught.
We're going to check that out in a different video. Check that out in a different segment. But yeah, Hasan is nasty work for sure. He's out here wilding, grifting like he usually does. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section. Hit that hype button and the like button if you're able to. And watch more videos. Also, you know, check out my memberships if you're able to as well.